Well, hello there everyone. Welcome back to Suzerain, Kingdom of Rizia, where last episode we have put in motion plans to draft a constitution for Rizia, turning us into a constitutional monarchy. We shall see how those plans unfold. Now, to go meet the snake in the grass, the president of Velen. My eyes remained locked on an enormous airship moored at a blimp base on the outskirts of the presidential palace in Rokovitz, Velen's capital. Its sleek form dominated the skyline. Standing before it, I observed the sight of President Smolak's imposing image prominently displayed on its side alongside the flag of Velen and bold proclamation of Velen's rise to prominence. With Smolak at the helm, Velen soars to new heights. Our agreement's 3-year probationary period had come to an end. It was finally time to discuss the return of Zilla. However, my host was nowhere in sight. For fuck's sake, not again. Flanked by golden guardsmen, I eventually made my way up the red carpet stretching from my motorcade to the airship's gondola, past a few dozen or so young women in impeccably pressed uniforms. The interior of the ship was adorned with lavish blue and white drapes cascading from floor-to-ceiling windows. Plush magenta seats lined the cabin, with each embellished with opulent tassels and cushions embroidered with the Velen crest. Crystal chandeliers hung from the ceiling, casting a dazzling array of lights across the space. The gondola cabin practically screamed excess to the point of absurdity, and there, standing amongst it all, was the man of the hour, Victor Smolak. "Welcome aboard, Your Majesty. So glad you could join me." It was then I noticed that he was carrying a baby who couldn't have been more than a year old. Looks like even presidents have to multitask these days. You don't know the half of that. After 11 daughters, courtesy of my 8 wives, all of whom I'm still married to, I finally have a boy. Meet Victor Smolak II. We're having a father-son weekend. How heartwarming. Interesting. I never took you for a family man, because he's not. Sure. Impressive airship you have here, Mr. President. Let's not be too direct. It's my pride and joy, Your Majesty. Won it in a bet with Chancellor Hegel of Valsland, though he won't admit to it if you ask. It was then that I felt the airship begin its ascent. I looked out the window as the sprawling capital city beneath us became smaller and smaller. Sure. Well, whenever you're ready, I'm more than happy to begin our discussion. Take a step back, relax, and enjoy the ride. We've got a long flight ahead of us. There'll be time for all of that soon enough. Several hours later, I woke up to the sight of a vast expanse of ocean peering over the horizon. I had fallen asleep in one of the lounge chairs and the observation deck. I hope you had a good rest, Your Majesty. I turned to see Smolak standing over me. Little Victor was in his arms. Would you care for a drink? We've got everything. Coffee, please. Right away, come with me. We made our way to a private room where drinks were already set out for us. Even the baby had a bottle waiting for him. We took our seats in front of the window with a view just as fantastic as before. To traveling in style, cheers. Smolak and I clinked glasses. You were the first world leader to share a ride on my airship. Because I'm the only one that had turned on the invitation. I'm honored. You should be. Everyone else is so official and by the book. I could invite Prime Minister Alvarez here, but he'd pay more attention to the liquor than the view. And Queen Beatrice, forget about it. It's as if they don't want to be friends, not like us. Let's be a little bit, maybe we should be a little bit more direct. The friends go over to each other's homes only to become permanent residents, rearranging furniture, dictating house rules, and never leaving. I see what you did there. Someone wants to get right to talking about Zilla. Very well, let's get right to it then. Smolak sipped his drink before pulling out a cocktail napkin from his jacket pocket. There was vague scribblings on it. If you remember, we signed an agreement regarding the conditions for Zilla's return to Rizia. held up the napkin where I could make out a list of the terms to our amended treaty. Yeah, please tell me we're not determining the fate of millions via cocktail napkin. I beg your pardon, I'll try to use a chalkboard next time. Maybe pen and paper. I'm sure you have some laying around. I prefer the annotated version, direct and to the point. He waved his napkin around once more. Can we please get back on track? I fear we're moving in the wrong direction. Malik's expression turned cold. I'll be the judge of that. For fuck's sake. Brief moment of tension quickly subsided with a flash of the president's trademark smile. Well, what are you waiting for? Let's get to it. His attention returned to his napkin. We made an agreement, Your Majesty. I believe we both remember its terms. Sure, I'll leave it to the host's discretion. You're too kind in that case. Let's talk about trade. According to my notes, my people are very grateful for your generous wine shipments. He raised his glass. Sure, what can I say? What good is wine if not shared with the world? Indeed, wine's wasted if one merely hogs it for themselves. Now, when it comes to the import of Rizian gold, it's been quite the economic boom. In fact, as a tribute to our success, I'm in the process of renovating my entire bathroom with Rizian gold. Fuck's sake. Soon my morning routine will feel like a royal coronation. Believe me when I say my coronation resembled nothing like a commode. It was a joke. That's what it was. Yes, I understood that it was a joke. Never mind. At least the intention behind it, I really am getting my bathroom remodeled in gold. Now, as for security-related matters, I am deciphering my handwriting correctly. It says here, you didn't break any of the security or counter-terrorism promises you made to Velen. Oh, wait, that's because you never made any such promises in the first place. I mean, still counts, right? I have to reiterate how disappointed I am that Rizia turned a blind eye to the unrest and turmoil behind brewing within your neighbor's borders. Please understand. We must prioritize our concerns. I apologize for any inconvenience caused by Rizia's decision. I appreciate the apology, but unfortunately it doesn't do anything to change our current situation. Therein lies the problem. The bloodish threat isn't just a threat to Velen, but to the entire region as a whole, which doesn't appear to be going away anytime soon. Smolak looked at his cocktail napkin. You promised me that Duke Ricardo Torres would answer for his crimes, but he is still walking free. I removed him from his leadership position in Niza. Given the circumstances, please note that is the extent of... I mean, no, sure. He's been deposed. That should still serve the same purpose. Don't confuse punishment with justice. They aren't interchangeable. Smolak referred to his napkin once again. By the way, I have heard nothing but gratitude from expatriates of my country working in Rizia. You've really taken it upon yourself to better their situation. So that's it for the treaty. I hope you understand that I have reservations about our partnership, given the events of the past few years. Sure, I promise you your reservations are mistaken. I will meet any and all conditions you have for Rizia in the future. But, Your Majesty, the treaty is not the only factor at play. We are no closer to finding a culprit for the Friendship Day bombing than we were 5 years ago. It troubles me that you still haven't come to your senses regarding your one-sided relationship with Rumberg. I need to think about this for a second. Smolak finished his drink very slowly. Any more napkins in there I should know about? Now that you mentioned it. Of course. Smolak abruptly halted mid-sentence, seemingly captivated by the view outside the window. He stood up and approached the glass. Turning to see what had caught his attention, my gaze caught the rays of the setting sun traveling across an open body of water, illuminating an all-too-familiar city on a distant shore. Your Majesty, may I present Zilla? You always were one for theatrics. I'm impressed. Why, thank you, Your Majesty. I do try to keep the drama at a royal level. Smolak and I continue to gaze at the view in silence. I must say, the sight of Zilla takes my breath away every time I see it, as I hope it does for you too. Get a good look, Your Majesty, because I'm sorry to say you won't get many opportunities to do so in the future. Of course not. Ah. Taken aback, I paused for a moment. Okay, let's see. How much money am I getting from trade with them? Nothing. Okay, fine. I'm only getting one from Velen oil imports. So I can... Okay, good thing that I'm importing from Lesbia. So it's war then, is it? Taken aback, I paused for a moment to process what I just heard. I'm going to treasure this moment. After all, it's not every day I witness someone digging their own grave. Come now, Your Majesty. Empty threats are beneath someone of your stature. Believe me, there was nothing empty about them. I wish I could help you, I really do, but a deal's a deal. I have a reputation to uphold. If I stop following through with my threats, sorry, promises, no one will take me seriously. And the last thing I want is for people to think I can be taken advantage of. His eyes sparkled with suppressed laughter. From here on out, I will present my case for referendum on Zilla to the Alliance of Nations. Some of our compatriots still have respect for the democratic process, you see. Until then, consider Zilla's return on hold. Yeah, sure. You're only prolonging the inevitable. I'm prepared to pursue other avenues to achieve our objectives. Consider this your one and final warning. Well, this has all the makings for an awkward return flight. I'll take my leave so that you may reflect upon the implications of your decisions. Unless you change your mind, I very much doubt I'll see you for the rest of our trip. And we didn't. The moment Smolak stepped out, we left behind an unspoken understanding of the strained ties between our nations. However, it wasn't until long after we waited our weekend excursion having ended early, that I was struck by the full weight of what had transpired. Okay, um, start mobilizing. Start mobilizing the military to the Velen border, please and thank you, to the Zilla border, and to the Gulf of Mordia. Royal convoy finally arrived at the entrance to the Alliance of Nations, headquarters in Constantium. I looked around. Of all the leaders gathered here, we'd made the most grandiose entrance by far. I felt good about today. A voice over the loudspeaker announced that it was time to take our seats. I smiled before entering the fray. After the usual greetings, Lorenzo and I settled at our table in the conference hall. He leaned over and whispered in my ear, "Here we go, Your Majesty." What's the worst that can happen? I mean, declaration of war against Velen. It's pretty much... We will see. A man that I recognize as President Nines approached the podium. The introduction to the session followed. With the hit of the gavel, President Nines announced the opening of the session. Martin von Hurten, the Prime Minister of Agnolia, was summoned to the stage. I looked around the room. The attendees' attention had begun to flag. A few didn't even bother to disguise their yawns. "Thank you, President Nines. Good morning. It is an honor to see you all in this chamber. The Alliance of Nations and its position is paramount to maintaining peace in the world, it is the sole organization that can bring us all together. Not only for constructive discussions, but for collective problem solving. With our combined will and desire for justice, there is no issue we cannot resolve. And therefore, I therefore ask for your assistance in the fair and just resolution of a dilemma faced by my proud nation of Agnolia. It concerns Heldi Island. Upon hearing the name of the island, everyone in the room woke up and sprang to attention. I heard Lorenzo mutter under his breath. Yes, again, we're in for an interesting time. What do you mean? He is reigniting Agnolia's feud with Vogsland. If you ask me, now is neither the time nor place. The innocent Agnolians living on this island are currently living under the long shadow cast by Vogsland. Their territorial ambitions know no bounds. They will not rest until they have subdued every Agnolian soul on the land they have unlawfully claimed as theirs. Heldi Island is a vital piece of our heritage that Chancellor Hegel is trying to take away from us by force. I pose to you this question. What would you have done if it was your own land under threat? Ah, shit. Talking to me, are you? Our eyes randomly met before he turned his gaze away. The place where your great-grandfather was born, where your father was born, would you not defend it? Would you not protect it with your life? He has a point. Having a point is not enough. More at play here. As unfortunate as it is, we've seen firsthand how often might makes right. For peace in Eastern Mercopa, Heliland has to be recognized as Agnolian. Don't forget, if you tolerate this happening to us, your own nations will be next. I urge you to do the right thing. Thank you. I could see that Emmerich Hegel had a smirk on his face. He seemed confident. President Ninas declared the voting to begin on the matter. Nay. Aye. Abstain. Aye. Nay. Aye. Nay. Nay. Okay, so we're voting nay. 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 Yeah, we're voting with the majority here. Might come back to bite me in the ass, but I would rather have Hegel on my. It's better for me to have Hegel on my right on the right side. The voting concluded and President Ninas took his seat. The result was nay by a landslide. Defeated Mayor Van Horten shook his head in disbelief. His shoulders dropped. Who knew how he felt in that moment? Ninas signaled for a break. Lorenzo stood up to catch a minister he wanted to talk to. I enjoyed the Kurutian circular pastry with sesame seeds, apparently named Rekgev, that was handed out as snacks as we waited for the session to continue. Victor Smolak, president of Velen, got up from his seat to speak. He held his arms up in the arm and shouted, "Alliance of Nations, hear me!" He can't help making a dramatic entrance, can he? I come to you today with dire news from our southeastern border. Rizia's continued demand for the transfer of Zilla back to its territory. Under Velen, the Zileans have enjoyed democratic freedoms that they have never experienced before. That's adorable. To lose those freedoms by joining a monarchy, nobody wants that. Would you? I wouldn't. I have heard representatives from Zilla personally. I might add, they were clear in their request. They asked good old Victor to help them out, and I promised that I would. Zilla wants to remain part of Velen. The will of the people is paramount in a democracy, King Romus, although you might not know that. Democratic referendum will take place in Zilla so that the people themselves can decide with whom they will align. Sure, let him continue. I myself personally presented him with the idea of a referendum when it became clear that he had not taken our amended agreement seriously. He almost spat in my face. What do you expect from a monarch? Spat in your face because you're a two-faced little bitch. Of course, Rizia has not sat idly by in the years since the Friendship Day attacks. King Ramos Torres is knowingly intentionally sowing dissent amongst the populace of Zilla. With underhanded tactics, he has attempted to garner a pro-Rizia movement in the region. Its swelling numbers do not reflect Zilla's true sentiments. There are big games being played with Velen. Everyone is against us. Rizia made no serious investigation into the Friendship Day bombing, to this day no culprit has been found. Why? Because the attack was masterminded by Rizia itself. The Zilla referendum will happen. As a leading force for justice in the world, it is the AN's obligation to rescue these innocents from the clutches of their would-be king and deliver them to freedom. That is all I will say. I mean, I agree with this situation. Kick this petty fuck out. He left the podium. President Nines motioned forward. I was given several minutes to defend Rizia's position. I made my way to the podium. Esteemed members of the Alliance of Nations, I'd like to talk about the agreements that my father and President Smolak's predecessors signed all those years ago. When circumstances were altered by the Friendship Day bombing, I gladly signed an extension to that agreement, but President Smolak did not honor even that. I ask you this, what kind of world would this be if everyone went about making and breaking agreements with no consequences? I have a personal connection to Zilla and its people. I know that they will back me in this. Supporting this referendum would make a mockery of a legitimate binding treaty between nations. Okay. Sure. President Smolak demeans others with such ease, but let's talk about what he himself has done. Sure. For his actions against the Bloodish people, he should be regarded as a criminal. Just turn on your television and open a newspaper. Yeah, just ask any Vezek citizen who is not being held at gunpoint by this man. Velen has been victimized in the past, it's true, but that does not give Smolak free rein to become an oppressor. I say to you, the people of Zilla will not suffer the same fate that the minorities in his own country do. I can't help but respond to President Smolak's claims about what the people of Zilla do and do not want. I practically grew up in Zilla. I still harbor closer attachments to its residents. So I say this to him, do not try to lecture us about our own values. I've said enough about Velen and the games President Smolak is playing. I want to talk about this referendum. This referendum is instigated by President Smolak himself, not the people of Zilla. Knowing the way that Velen's so-called democracy is run, there is no way their government will respect the actual will of the people. This is not going to go well, considering our previous vote. Rizia, sure, let's be a bit more aggressive. Rizia will not be silent against the threat of Vezek territorial ambitions. If we abide by the rule of law, what must be done is clear. Zilla must be returned to Rizia as per the agreement. Sir, I ask for your votes to send the Alliance of Nation peacekeepers to Zilla to stop this illegal referendum. The audience applauded as I stepped down from the podium. Excellent. Applause. Awesome. I went back to my seat next to Lorenzo. A very good speech, Your Majesty. Do you think I convinced anyone? We're about to find out. After much deliberation, President Nines opened the floor. Each leader now had the vote whether to allow the referendum or not. Nay. Abstain. 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 Nay. 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 Abstain. Fuck you. At least I didn't vote in favor. Abstain. Aye. The votes were counted. The Alliance of Nations would not allow the Zilla referendum to happen. Peacekeeping troops would be sent to ensure the smooth transition of Zilla to Rizia. Excellent. Success. What a triumph, your father would be proud. I won't celebrate until the deed to Zilla is in my hands. Yes, Your Majesty. An aide leaned over to my ear to let us know that it was lunch time. We made our way out of the chamber. Success! Take that, you fuck. Paid. Deficit from low global energy prices. Ah, fuck. -3 budget. That is not great. Sure. Not every crowd has a silver lining, sure. Diplomatic standstill. Beatrice demands reparations for century-old alleged war crimes. Global energy prices lowest in years. Ah, it's not good for me. Circling over Stalport. AN calls for Zilla referendum. Calls off for Zilla referendum. AN votes against recognizing Heliland as Agnolian. Okay, next we will have our daughter's wedding. This, the day of my daughter's wedding. But I think that will be left for the next episode. Thank you all very much for watching. As always, I have been Pope. Please do remember to like, comment, and indeed subscribe. I will see you all next time.